I have created a beautiful form in React that contains every single type of form and metaverse. I'm going to show you how I did it so that you can have a better understanding of forms in React. Alright, let's see what this form contains. First and foremost, it includes a text input. You can write any text here, text something, then a number, then email, and a password. This form has built-in form validation so that you can see this and password. Next we have search term, anything, search query, phone number, the URL, and some text area. And also this form it remembers the state. I'm using useState to store all the data within the form. Then I have the date input. I'm gonna use the calendar option, and I also have time input and a select and a checkbox and range and a radio button and a file. Let's choose this. Now if I submit it, the form gets submitted and you can see all the data that the form has submitted in the console. For example, checkbox is true, date, email, number, password. Now let's see the code, how I did it. Let's look at the code. First of all, I'm initializing a React application using npm create white and create latest here, and then I've already set up that, and also with that I'm installing a couple of libraries which are normalize.css and prop types. This is the project's package.json file. These are the two libraries that I have installed, and the remaining is default. So the main.jsx, I'm using normalize at the top along with custom styles from my main.css, and it is just rendering the app at the root. It's common. It's how React apps are done. Now in our app.js, what I'm doing is I am conditionally rendering different sections with some props based on the level. If the level is 0, I'm rendering section 1. For level 1, I'm rendering section 2. For level 2, section 3, and level 3 section 4. I'm using a state variable called level to keep track of which form to show the user. And I also using another state variable which is an object in the name of data to store the data of each input. I'm passing down this data to my different sections. Look at your data is data, and I also have a couple of helper functions which help me move between the different sections. And this is my handle change function, which is gonna dynamically update this data based on different input changes. And finally, this is my multi-step form submit function. It just prevents the default action and shows an alert to the user and logs the data to the console. So now let's see what different sections contain. In these sections, I am rendering a form with 4 different inputs: password, email, number, and text. These are the most basic type of inputs there are. And for each I'm passing value to be data.text. This data comes from the prop, which is a state variable. And also on change, I'm using handle change, which dynamically updates the data. It's in this. And that's it about the first section. Let's see section 2. Section 2. Hang on, my VS Code is getting stuck. It's becoming unresponsive. Here we go. Drop section 2 here. And in this section, I'm adding, it's similar to the first section, but instead of basic input types, I'm adding even more basic input types such as search, telephone, a URL, and a text area. And here I'm also using buttons to navigate between the previous section and to the next section. Section 3 is similar, but it contains date, time, and select in the form. Date is just a regular input of type is date, and time is same as well. Type is time. Now in my select form element, I'm giving two options, first and second. And finally, here are our buttons to navigate previously and to the next section. And finally, here we have section 4, which contains advanced input types, just checkbox, range, radio buttons, and a file input. When this final section is submitted, I'm calling handle multi-step form submit, which comes from here, and it logs the data to the console and shows the user an alert that the form is submitted. For my CSS, I'm importing inter, and I'm making everything to be a border box. I'm importing the CSS in my main.jsx after I imported normalized.css. Normalized.css must go above any of our own CSS. And in the root, I have declared some variables such as surface, on surface, surface container, and body background. And I'm also using media query to select the prefers color scheme dark, so that it has automatically dark and light themes. And this is my body. I'm using color scheme light and dark. This tells the UI to change the coloring of the default elements such as buttons, scroll bars to adapt to the system theme. And this is some generic button styles. And here we have a form with the field set. I'm styling the field set as this. And here is my form control. Some flexbox action is going down here. And these are my even more input types: checkbox, range, file, and radio. And finally, I have a select. So this is the code. You can find this code's repository in my video description. Go check it out.